Hi there and welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita, and today we're going to continue my CD collection. We're going to get into the kind of midway point between Street Angel and The Dance. It seems to me that between 1995 and 97 that there really wasn't much going on with Fleetwood Mac, but actually there was quite a bit of stuff. When you kind of stop and look at this, it's going to be a pretty short video and a small pile. But the Mac were pretty active. Stevie had just successfully done Street Angel, successfully as far as I'm concerned, but maybe not as successful as, of course, Belladonna or Wild Heart. Lindsay was doing really well with Out of the Cradle. Christine was away still. We didn't know that we were going to get Christine back for The Dance. And Mick and John are always fine. But yeah, there's some contributions that Stevie made. Stevie made more contributions between 95 and 97 than, of course, any solo material per se. So starting right off with that in 1993, so this was pre-Street Angel, but because I had the piles the way I did, I just kind of rearranged them, so a little bit out of order. But in 1993, Stevie Nicks joined the lead singer of Cheap Trick for a solo venture that he did, Robin Zander. And the song that Stevie shared vocals with on this album is called Secret. A real gem of a song. Beautiful, beautiful vocals. Great album by Robin Zander. And really a jewel, Stevie's vocals at that time. No photos or anything like that of Stevie, to my knowledge. Let's see here. Pretty sure not, but nope. Just some thank yous and such, but yeah. So this, to my knowledge, I don't know if this is on vinyl or cassette, but I do have it on CD. I think it's out of print. So your best bet is to just be really lucky on eBay or look in bargain bins, because that's where I found this one with that, which is a real damn shame, because this should have been a much better album for Robin, especially with the addition of Stevie on those vocals. So again, that was 1993, so before Street Angel, before the last video. But again, things are a little bit out of order, so I could keep the videos a little bit more concise. So again, as well, I think this one also is 1992 or 93, 92. So again, before Street Angel and before the box set. But again, I just chose to keep these a little bit separate to go with this pile, as I just explained. Another knock out of the park, Rick Vito, who can do no wrong. Just a super nice guy and one hell of a musician. And this is from his album, which was King of Hearts. And this is a duet with Stevie Nicks called Desiree. Another great song. And I don't just say that because there's Stevie guest vocals. Stevie just has a very rich tone paired with vocals. She really is made to sing just like she loves. And like she constantly talks about from the very beginning, when she first was singing with her grandfather on bar stools, to singing with Buckingham and Fritz. You know, Stevie has a really rich voice to sing with male counterpoints, and duets are really a signature for her. So when she guests on songs such as this and this, they're really great, and it doesn't hurt that these two musicians on their own are just phenomenal talents. So this is a really nice find. I don't know how super rare it is. I don't see it often. You can find Rick Vito's album pretty easily on CD. But the single's a little bit harder to come by, and it is hard to come by on vinyl. And as I said, Rick Vito is just an amazing human. So, great album. Continues to make great work. And unfortunately, I just found out about his artwork, which some of it's being auctioned off on eBay. And I bought from him, but I just realized that he did art. And I'm like, now I'm going to have to find a way to get a piece. So, yeah. Anyway, side note, squirrel. Check out Rick Vito. This one, I do believe we're back on track now. This came out in 1994, 94, 95. This was similar to a LP that I'll be showing you when we get into the LPs. there was a picture disc that came out in 87, 88, and it was by a company called Back to Back. And it was in conversation as well. And I think that's exactly how it's shown on the record. But then they did CDs, and I think this is actually a different recording that was on the record. But you know what? I never thought about it. Maybe it's the same, because it's an interview with Mick Fleetwood. On the vinyl, it shows a picture of Stevie Nicks on one side and the band lineup with Rick and Billy on the back side. But yeah, I'm gonna say it's a no. I can't say it's a different interview. I never thought of that. I haven't listened to them in a while. But it dawned on me this could just be the cassette version of that LP. But still nice to have. Again, technically bootleg, but they were one of the legit bootleg companies that came out. So this was readily available and orderable on the back of like magazines, and you'd see them at record stores all the time. This one actually I bought at, what's another one of those companies that went out of business? Not Stereo City. Anyway, another one of those, kind of like, they weren't a record store, they weren't Kmart, its name's on the tip of my tongue, but it was another place in Santa Cruz that at the very end, for some reason, just ended up getting a really obscure amount of foreign and out-of-print CDs. It was really weird. It wasn't a second-hand place, it was a brand new place. But it was a stereo and TV, electronics, like a Fry's Electronics. It wasn't Fry's, but something along those lines. So, had this since the day I saw that it had come out. This is another one. Now, here I am just, singing the praises of Stevie's vocals with other people. This is not one of my favorites. Mostly I think it's the song. I'm not really a big Harry fan, but absolute utmost respect for him. So this was a tribute to Harry. I've never known if it's Nilsson or Nielsen. And Stevie Nicks sings with Ringo Starr on the song. It's here somewhere. I've forgotten the name of it. Lay Down Your Arms. So Ringo Starr of the Beatles, of course, and Stevie Nicks singing a song by Harry. Not one of my favorites. Definitely not. I'm just, like I said, I'm just not really a big Harry fan. But, I mean, of course, but again, Stevie's vocals mix well. This would have been the promo sticker that came on it. Or not promo, but, stuff like I told you I'll cut out. And I think there is a little photo of Stevie in here, which is kind of cool, yeah. This came out in 1996. This has, what I will say about this is it has a great contribution from a lot of artists. Amy Mann from Till Tuesday, and one of my favorite bands ever that came and went. Again, you talk about talented singers who ventured off to do their own things, was a band called Jellyfish, which came out in the 90s. Kind of one-hit wonders with MTV. Very locked into their look and the video that they did. But they have a song on here called Think About Your Troubles, and it's a great song. So, but yeah, there's all sorts of people. Brian Wilson, Jellyfish, Jimmy Webb, Randy Newman, Fred Schneider of the B-52s doing Coconut, which sounds completely like him. So there's a lot of really good stuff on here, but like I said, I'm not, I was never really a big Harry fan or anything like that, so it just didn't do anything in particular for me. And it's a cover. I really like when Stevie does new songs or new music with people. So they all have their place, but this is a really neat album. This came out in 1996. So then, as we all know, the infamous 1995 release, Fleetwood Mac, Time. Time. This has a spot. It's a small spot. It's a small spot. It's a small spot on my shelf. There's a couple singles that I want from this album. I do. would be its biggest hit from here. And then a lot of the B-sides from the foreign singles of the song I Do from the Time album include Fleetwood Mac material that has Stevie Nicks and Christine on it. This, of course, as you know, has no Stevie Nicks, no Lindsey Buckingham, no Rick Vito, no Billy Burnett, if I'm correct. I think this was just Becca. No, I'm sorry, Billy was still there. I apologize. Sorry, Billy. And I don't know why I keep forgetting that. Because I knew that Dave Mason was back. And I just forgot that you were in there. But it's so Mick, John, Chris, Billy, who stayed on after Rick left, and then Becca Bramlett and Dave Mason. And, you know, it's not a Fleetwood Mac album. But again, I think it's sad for me for this phase of the band as well, because even though I would have probably liked it more if we had been given enough love and attention to this lineup of this band as we ought to have been given with Rick and Billy, if that makes any sense. Like, we're full rolling, we're full tilt. They're not pictured on the album. I mean, we got Behind the Mask, which was Brill. I've already gone over that, how much I'm crazy for that album. And we thought we were going to go forward, and then, you know, some time goes by, and then Rick leaves, and it's not really announced. It's very subtle. And then we have, you know, Chris, who's, you know, okay, she's back with the band, but okay, real subtle. And then Becca, who is, you know, left to fill the shoes of Stevie without filling the shoes. She's not trying to fill the shoes, but of course they're going to do some Stevie songs, and, you know, Chris isn't going to haul them all out. Chris has got her own catalog. So poor little Becca is, you know, being completely annihilated by Stevie fans who are like, that's blasphemy, and we can't have her singing those songs, which is not true. But it's kind of, you know, it's, you know, we want Stevie back, and or we want a firm introduction to the new lineup of the band, because we are not unaccustomed to lineups of Fleetwood Mac. So I think that Chime just really shot its own self in the foot, because again, we're just totally aligning with Rick and Billy being with the band, and then it has a change up again, and it wasn't well promoted. It wasn't well, you know, just nothing. And, you know, I'm sure there were press conferences, don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't given its due. I mean, I remember seeing Fleetwood Mac being in concert with REO Speedwagon, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, it's not Fleetwood Mac. I mean, it is. It's this lineup. And I really regret not seeing that show, because it would have been great to see Billy again. It would have been great to see Christine back on the stage. It would have been great to see Dave Mason. He's a hell of an artist. Becca, I neither love nor hate. I mean, I have their album coming up, Becca and Billy Burnett. But yeah, it just, again, I thought, oh my God, Fleetwood Mac's back together. What's going on? And it was just a surprise to even see that. So overall, Time, it's a frustrating point. It's not a down point. That's a good way to put it. It's a frustrating point for Fleetwood Mac at this time in 1995, because just where were we? We weren't prepared. We weren't given the opportunity. We weren't introduced. We weren't, you know, talking about everybody. And, you know, there's a lot of great music on here. Nights in Estoril, I think I say it. And what was the other one I liked? I think Talking to My Heart. And, of course, the song I Do, Winds of Change. Those are the ones that stand out to me as being pretty good songs on the album. But yeah, and then next thing you know, this is gone. Here comes the dance, you know, and just, you know, so, you know, this little family unit that was made just never had a chance, and, you know, kind of dropped off, and I think that's kind of unfair to everybody who was involved, even the main players, which would be Mick, John, and Christine. So that is my opinion about Fleetwood Mac's Time album. I love the graphics on it. I think it's really cute. We just really, you know, really have the homage to the Penguins, especially after the box set. It's kind of cute to keep that theme So you kind of had that going for you, where there's kind of the imagery of Fleetwood Mac. I mean, the mascot of the band Fleetwood Mac, but you just weren't really giving us a family picture, if you will. And it just felt like we were, like we knew, a family, and, all the husbands and wives in the family. And then we went to a reunion, and everybody had broken up and brought their new boyfriend and girlfriend, and we're like, cool, but what happened? So that's that. Next up, we have another one of those weird, random, completely they're related. I just like picking these up. Again, 1995. This was a band called Spectrum. They're, kind of like tribute bands, I guess, and they made this album, Unforgettable Memories of Music of Fleetwood Mac. When I come across these, I can't resist. They're just funny, and they go with the collection. I mean, it's the music of Fleetwood Mac, right? Just done by other people, right? What's the difference, really? Yeah, so this is kind of cool. The latest this goes up to, it's pretty much stuff from Rumors, and the Fleetwood Mac album. It does have Everywhere on it, so up to 87. Nothing on the inside. Of course, the jacket's all caught up in here, so I'm trying to show you. There's nothing on the inside anyway. We're not going to show you any pictures of the band. We're just going to give you some cheesy. If you act now, we'll also throw in. That's what this reminds me of. It's one of those CDs you buy late at night at midnight. But wait, there's more. So, yeah, that was what came out for that one. Next up, this was kind of a unique album that came out. This was very, funny enough, I always think this is very 90s album. This is very 2000s album. This just brings to mind LimeWire and Napster and that whole ordeal, and bands that were we had the whole what the heck do you call it, grunge, and we're like that. This includes, this is the album is called Spirit of 73, and it's Rock for Choice. It was a compilation album that raised money for the Rock for Choice, Women's Choice, and such. And I got it because of an odd and kind of rarer cover of Dreams by a band that was real prominent in the 90s and 2000s called Letters to Cleo. And they were kind of, like I said, kind of prominent, as were Babes in Toyland, Jonette Napolitano, I think I always say that right, from Concrete Blonde, amazing musician. L7 with Joan Jett, That Dog, who do a cover of Midnight at the Oasis by Maureen Muldaur. If you don't know, go find that song right now. That is a must-have in your library of music. Sarah McLachlan's on here, Indigo Girls, Sophie B. Hawkins. Really great setup. Most all of it are covers. Actually, I think all are covers. But yeah, this one just had I think the only way to get this cover of Dreams is from this album. Letters Cleo, actually, they might have their own, like a single. But this was a really cool CD, and I just remember it coming out, and, the proceeds and such for a good cause. I don't think there's anything on Stevie in here. Yeah, but it's, Women's Choice and such like that. So absolutely something Stevie would have backed up for sure. I'm sure she had zero problems with her song being covered for this. And yeah, no pictures or anything like that. Just the information. So really neat little album. A really neat collectible thing to have for, again, a cover of a Stevie song or a Fleetwood Mac song, and an album that if you got it when it was new, like I did, it was, like I said, good cause. And but the Midnight at the Oasis is a great cover as well. It's overall a pretty good album. Next up we have coming out in 1995. This was probably doesn't go together, but this was a promo CD for something by Tom Petty. You know what's funny? I love him. I mean, I went to Tom Petty shows to see Stevie Nicks. Okay, I ended up seeing, I think, 5 shows total. 3 of them were at the Greek in Berkeley. 1 was at the Hollywood Bowl. And I think another one was back at the Greek or maybe somewhere else. By the end of the evening on the first show, I'm like, Stevie Nicks was there? What? I mean, I was completely dumbfounded and amazed by Tom Petty. I liked him. I knew that I probably would be, but he was not an artist I really would have thought to go to. It was really the appeal of Stevie Nicks being there that I went and finally saw him live. All of that said, I have next to nothing about him. I'm really not keen on having a bunch of his stuff. I have a couple 45s. I think I have 1 box set, again, because Stevie's in there. I have a book on him. But I don't have a lot of Tom Petty stuff, which is kind of weird. Usually, as you can see, I'll pick up stuff that's related and really be into people that she's worked with and have like larger parts of their catalog, and due to the fact that I'm a fan via Stevie or just in general, and I really don't have much Tom Petty stuff. But coming back to the reason I bring that up is because I think this is from a box set. I don't think this is supposed to be a CD on its own. But it was something of Tom Petty's. It's a promo single, and it's got a demo of Stop Dragging My Heart Around. But I know that it was a Tom Petty box set. And then this is another promo on the back of a Free Fallin', which does not include her on the vocals, but because Stevie did a version of it, it's just something that I acquired and kept. So again, in 7 Degrees of Separation collection. I brought up when I was bringing up my 45s, I was trying to talk about this and how the picture sleeve on the CD single that I had, I thought was different. Well, I went looking it up and I realized that this CD single is actually itself part of a 2-piece set. If you remember, the 45 that I showed you was like a gatefold, and it had 145 on one side with 2 songs and another part. Pardon me. This was supposed to be part of something else, and I didn't know that. And I don't know what the other part is. I just obtained this one at one time. So this one is a enhanced CD. It has the video of Gold Dust Woman, and it includes Gold Dust Woman and then Spit on the backside. But somewhere down here it says part of a two-part set, not to be sold individually. Oops. So I'll have to seek that out at some point. That 45 that I had, though, I had really wanted that for a while, mostly because of the etching on the back part. So if you haven't seen that, go back to the 45s, and there's one kind of similar to this one where it's just kind of a bunch of pieces, and that one's in there. So it's already a little bit longer than I meant it to be. I'm so sorry. This album came out in 1996. Again, this was, oh my God, why can I not think of that damn Stereo City or Stereo, like the Good Guys, or I just can't think of the damn name of that place. But all of a sudden they were getting CDs like this, and this again is another import. This is from the UK. I don't believe it's a bootleg at all. It has all the markings and stuff like that to be a legitimate CD. But I got this at that store, and this is the Fleetwood Mac family album. You can see it has all the way early Fleetwood Mac, all the incarnations, all the way till what at the time had been the current one. Well, actually not. It had been Time, but they show the last lineup with Rick and Billy. This came out again in 1996. This has a real eclectic bunch of songs. It's really cool though, because again, if you read the back, it starts out with the Cheyennes. Trying to hope that comes in clear. It's not gonna work. Peter B's Lunars, John Mayall's Blues Breakers, Fleetwood Mac, Chicken Shack, Jeremy Spencer, Christine Perfect, Tramp, Danny Kirwan, Bob Welch, Dave Mason, John Stewart, the song is Gold, Billy Burnett, the song is Don't Say No, Mick Fleetwood, Rattlesnake Shake, Stevie Nicks, Stop Dragging My Heart Around, and John McVie's Now I Know. Just really neat, weird little compilation. What's even cooler is that inside this sleeve, this does fold out into the literal, the whole write-up on Fleetwood Mac, which is really cool. Everything you see here. And on the back, it has its own family tree, which is pretty cool. So this was really, really nice find. And I still come across it once in a while, mostly at used record stores. But a complete guide to Fleetwood Mac members before, during, and after. Features new peat frame family tree. So this is a good find if you can. It's cool for that little family tree for at the time. It's got a great little write-up in there. And again, it's a really neat compilation of songs that are in here. So that one would be definitely one to grab if you can. This came out in 1996 as well. And this is Dave Cause, Off the Beaten Path. And of course, the song on here is Let Me Count the Ways with Stevie Nicks. A real sweet little AM gold kind of sound, you know. Dave Cause, you know what you're getting with Dave. That's on a Slander. Real easy, mellow, beautiful sax sound. And we ended up meeting him, my friend and I, around the time that the CD came out. And I'll talk more about it when I show the pictures and stuff. But we brought up Stevie Nicks and that we really enjoyed. The CD is pretty enjoyable, but of course we really did zero in on it more because of the addition of Stevie on there. And he was nice enough to share some really cool Stevie stories with us. So Dave Cause is a very nice guy. I haven't really, kind of feel bad, kept up with his career much after. I know he still does a lot of work, and nothing about Stevie in here other than, I think, special thanks and stuff. But yeah, this is really fun. Again, a nice little song. Stevie's vocals are very light and airy. Again, it just reminds me of really what we call AM gold, AM radio station gold. So that was a nice little one. Getting into 96 as well, we have the Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham doing Twisted, which came out of nowhere, completely out of left field. When this sprung up, this was a huge surprise. I should have probably saved this more towards the end because, of course, as we all know, I believe that this is really the lead into the dance. This is from the song Twister. Beautiful, beautiful vocals and guitar by Lindsey, and the two of them doing what they did best together, which is singing together. And it's a damn shame we didn't get more. We never got much more. We never got Buckingham Nicks on CD, on CD. And I don't think we ever will. And, we get them together in Fleetwood Mac doing songs together, but when they just took a moment and did something like this was really, really special. This is them just having a moment. And it would have been really cool if, I think, in between Fleetwood Mac, which maybe even, I don't know, maybe even would have made things go better if they could have just come together themselves without the Mick wanting to get back in the studio to make and that's no thing on Mick about, he's coming in to make another album. Mick broke again, and we all make jokes about it. Probably Mick Fleetwood makes his own jokes about it. But there's always the pressure of Fleetwood Mac, and I'm sure Stevie and Lindsey feel that pressure that they are obligated to come in. And, for Stevie, it's because, she's a big integral part of the band. And for Lindsey, because, he does so well with doing and mixing all the songs. But I can't help but wonder if Stevie and Lindsey had just gotten together on their own here and there and done a single even, or a performance, you know, a live random TV performance, if it would have kept things a little bit better, better waters. Just something I think about from time to time, because it seems to me that they were really at their own piece between themselves with no other um, input or other cooks in the kitchen, if you will. Um, and yeah, so I think this is really, of course, what brought us to dance. After that, we have, again, in 1997, we have this weird album that came out, which, um, yeah, this is a strange bird. This one I used to see all the time, and now I don't see anymore. This just popped up one day at Tower Records. Um, I still don't know half of these bands, and I like to think I'm pretty keen on taking, like following bands and stuff like this. But this was a patron saint, patron saints of pop, and I've never been able to say that, a posterary homage. It's a weird album. It's very it's very late 90s, but it's a great cover, great artwork. And I can't, even some of the bands, I can't remember who these people are. Um, Purple Ivy Shadows, I think is the name of the band, who had done a cover of Hypnotized. That's pretty nice. Um, 50 Bucks is who did a cover of, I think, Gold Dust Woman. Yeah, it's weird. I don't, yeah, I can't, yeah. I seldom listen to it. It's a weird mix. It's worth it. I'm never gonna get rid of it. Not gonna sell it to anybody. But it's a weird album. Um, I don't think any of these bands really ever got really big. Not that it matters. I mean, good for them that they made the album. But it's just an eclectic mix of people that came together, and they're like, hey, let's nothing going on Saturday. Let's make a tribute album to Fleetwood Mac. And they did, and it released, and then it kind of went nowhere. Next up, I have the album that I was speaking about earlier. I found this one day at a store and thought, what the hell? Love Billy. Don't, don't not love Becca, just really not that familiar with her. So that's, again, no down on her. I picked this up. This really cute little album. Don't ask me to name a song off here. Um, Great little work by them. I'm glad that they did something together. They obviously had a chemistry, and it was nice to see more work from Billy. And for Becca, I'm sure. I'm sure Becca's probably got solo albums, but I don't really know, unfortunately. I want to say that Heart to Call Home, maybe. There's some really cute songs on here, and it's got a little vibe to it. It's kind of, that kind of country, but in the 90s, which didn't really, I don't really think it had its place. I think it was kind of losing footing. Like Shania Twain came out, and she was country of the 90s, and I don't call it country of the 90s. I call that completely 1000% pop rock. And and not my style of pop rock. Just not a Shania Twain fan. It's okay. I'm not picking on her either. But, I think music like this, from an artist like this, now these, both Becca and Billy deserved a little bit more because of their tenor, where they'd been, who their family is, and everything like that. So I think it's a little bit more unfair to them, because when you're trying to make an album that's kind of got this little sort of a country vibe to it, in the 90s, it's a shame it didn't get more attention, while we're addressing artists such as like Shania Twain and Billy Ray Cyrus and stuff like that in the 90s. Um, Now I think it would be just fine. I think if this album came out today, it would do way better than it did at the time. But at this time, we just were too caught up in, Aqua doing Barbie Girl and Spice Girls and that kind of music and stuff. So this just kind of went nowhere, which is unfortunate. But I'm really glad I found it. Very happy to have it as part of my collection. And again, all related to the Fleetwood Mac family. And last, we're going to close it up with this acoustic portrait on guitar by Nick Johnston, a tribute to Fleetwood Mac. This is really pretty. It's just guitar work, not Lindsay's, but you know, he does okay. I don't know who this guy is. Never actually looked him up. Probably still won't. But you know, this little album came out, acoustic portrait. There's nothing on the inside, just the little label and stuff. But it's just a nice, again, little background noise. All these are kind of fun just when you're cleaning the house, or you want quiet music on the background, you're reading, you're doom scrolling on your phone or something, I don't know. But you don't want to you want to hum to Fleetwood Mac, but you don't want to be outright singing, you don't want anything really loud. These are really good. Nice little collection of songs. It's only about 30 or 40 minutes long, if that. So that does it for this little pile. Next up, we're going to have the dance, which, you know, I didn't think that this would be 35 minutes, so I do apologize. This is going to be, even though it's just about the same amount of pile, I've got a lot to talk about on this one. So I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to thank you for being with me on this one. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next time. We'll get right into the dance. Have a great night. Bye.